Hey, what's up? My name is Mike and welcome back to another video. I'll be making keycaps in this one. I'll show you the quick step-by-step on what I do to get from a product I want to make to the molds, to the casting and the pressure pots, the gear I use. It's going to be quite a quick overview, so I'll make an in-depth video a bit later on down the line with every single material I use, the tools I have, and the walkthrough from making the molds to injecting those molds and casting actual products. Cool, see you around. Oh, my knees. I basically 3D printed this modular keycap holder to make molds out of it, super nifty. I printed the part A and the part B, which then can slide in together and I can put my master print. In this case, I printed a Zelda Triforce keycap. I didn't spend any time sanding it down, just due to the fact that I was actually testing this whole concept out. I then also, out of curiosity, decided to mold one of my old keyboard keycaps, which is an injected keycap. I then just pour in the silicone and let it cure for a couple hours, even overnight. Once that's all done, I can crack the pressure pot open again and make sure they've all cured. There's quite a lot of flashing. The leftover silicone, I let it set and then cut it up into little cubes, which can then be reused into new silicone I pour. So I then just basically mix a cup of silicone with the little chunks that are already cut up and I can pour that back into another mold. It's a great way to avoid wasting any silicone. Putting them out is quite finicky. The 3D print I printed was quite fragile. I should have printed it with some more infill, but I eventually got them out. Bit of flashing on the molds, which I usually like cutting it with an X-Acto knife. Once that's all done, I can pull out the master molds and I am left with a part A and a part B silicone molds. They look really cool, and thanks to that modular 3D print, they slot in perfectly one another without any wiggle room. I just need some bands to keep them together when I inject it. I'll mix up some resin to give them a shot. I usually don't take it too seriously the first time, since I have no idea how the molds work. This is also the first time I'm using Smooth On. So the first time I'm using this silicone, so I wanted to be extra cautious and not spend too much time. While saying that, I do see that I decided to do a two-part pour. The leftover yellow resin then goes into a small side mold, which makes Pokeball buttons, which I like to include in orders I get from time to time. It's a good way for me to not waste any resin at all. You can see me hit each pour with a tiny little blowtorch. That's just to avoid any air bubbles. I usually get rid of them with my pressure pot, but it doesn't hurt to get rid of the surface ones already before even pressurizing it. I mixed up my second part of resin, used some liquid dye, which was probably a mistake in hindsight, especially due to the fact that this was also the first time I was using liquid dyes. The ratios change and make the resin cure at different rates. So I should have taken that into account. I usually use mica powders, which have a different effect in the end. They have a sort of shimmer and you see the particles of color that float around. Back in the pressure pot it goes and comes out again the next day. I usually try and pressurize it at 45 to 60 psi. depending on how patient I am. And as you can see, my resin sucks. It didn't cure properly. I still am able to see if the molds work, but I had to buy a new resin. The bottles I've been using are just too old and exposed to the sun, I guess, and it just degrades over time. It's something that happens. It's no big deal. Luckily, I was able to get them off my molds, so the molds aren't lost, and I'm still able to see the result. It's just the resin feels soft to the touch. It never really properly cured. I also made this one's a bit more complicated. It's a two-part mold where I have a tiny mold that's going to then go into my keycap, and I decided to paint it yellow and red and put a little Pokeball button on it. I'll go into more details when I work on a tutorial series on how to make keycaps or anything with resin and silicone for that matter. Once again, the fact that I never measure the quantities of resin I need strike, and I'm left with having to use some spare molds. In this case, I made some dice with the leftover red resin. Back in the pot and back out the pot they go. Ha, sorry, I just saw the clip. I did make a button with red dye. I just can't find it anymore. It's vanished from my stock. But the results were pretty cool. Check out this B-roll. I'm losing daylight really quickly, so thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.